Birthday is a 2019 South Korean drama directed by Lee Jung-un, released on April 26, 2019. Filming began April 2018 and concluded less than a year later. It cast Chon Do-young, Seo Kyung-gu, Yoon Chae-young, and Kim Bo-min as main characters. The story centers around Jung-yu and Sunam, a married couple who lost their son, Suho, in the real-life tragedy of the Seo ferry disaster. The Seo ferry disaster is the deadliest ferry disaster in recent South Korean history. On April 16, 2014, the MV Seo was en route from Incheon to Jeju Island when it suddenly listed and capsized. Out of 476 passengers and crew, 306 died in the disaster, including around 250 students from Tangwon High School in Ansan City. Overloading, improper maintenance, and miscommunication of directions are attributed to causing the boat to turn right too sharply and start listing. The boat fully sank within 3.5 hours starting at 8:58 a.m. and being completely submerged at 1:03 p.m. There are technical malfunctions, miscommunication between and slow response from the crew and the emergency services, and hesitancy on the crew's part to call for immediate evacuation. Despite the boat to be confirmed to be capsizing by 9:07 a.m., the crew repeatedly told the passengers to stay put. Most of these passengers were South Korean teenagers raised on Confucianist ideals of always obeying their elders. While they were told to put on life jackets, there was no official evacuation announced. While those passengers stayed in their rooms, Captain Lee Jun-suk and his crew abandoned ship. Captain Yi was rescued at 9:46 a.m. Around 150 to 160 passengers and crew jumped overboard at 9:41 a.m. and were rescued by nearby passenger boats. At 10:23 a.m., the ship overturned completely, waterlocking anyone left inside. Nearly everyone left inside and who obediently stayed put drowned and never made it out alive. The crushing tragedy of this incident was that the high schoolers' deaths were completely avoidable and were due to them placing their trust in the South Korean elders who failed and abandoned them. Director Lee Jung-un was inspired by when she volunteered with an organization to help bereaved families and noticed that it was particularly difficult for the mothers when the birthday of their lost child was approaching. Sunam, played by Chon Do-yeon, is one such mother who is desperately trying to process her son's death while raising her daughter alone. Jung-il, played by Seo Kyung-gu, is Sunam's husband who was away working overseas, comes back to South Korea and tries to make amends with his family and process his own mourning. Suho, played by Yoon Chae-young, was the family's cheery and kind eldest son who died on the Seo ferry. Yesol, played by Kim Bo-min, is the family's estranged daughter who is the audience and collateral of her parents' sorrow. Jung-il comes back from the working overseas where his business failed and a worker strike incident caused him to be jailed for 3 years, during which his son Suho died in the Seo ferry. His wife Sunam was left to moving on from Suho's death on her own. Now, Sunam lives day to day struggling to keep herself together while raising her daughter, Yesol. While Jung-il tries to contact Sunam and reunite with his family, she coldly pushes him away, angry at his unsolicited return, and pushes for divorce. A local support group wants to celebrate Suho's upcoming birthday as a way of mourning. However, while Jung-il is on board, Sunam is vehemently against it. She refuses to discuss Suho with anyone and bottles up her emotions, which brews tension within the family and reaches a breaking point. Jung-il tries to piece his family together, bonding with his distanced daughter and help him and his wife process their grievings. The movie follows Sunam, Jung-il, and friends and family trying to move forward, relieving the weight of their guilt and sorrow. The family comes together trying to find closure over their loss. Director Lee Jung-un's debut film was the first film to discuss the Seoul ferry disaster in the face of media censorship and public trepidation over the matter. Yet, he was able to direct a sensitive yet confrontational genre that is able to touch the hearts of audiences. Rather than exposing them to the actual tragedy and the public aftermath, the movie guided the audience on a poignant story about how families and loved ones grieved over devastating loss, the life-disrupting aftermath, and the difficult process of closure.